Say, welcome to
Hi.
Guyana.
Welcome to Guyana.
Your name?
My name is Charmaine.
Charmaine, and where are you from?
South.
Alright, so this is Charmaine from South in Georgetown, and this is typically what we have in Guyana, local Guyanese, and she wants to welcome you to Guyana, just like we. Okay guys, so visit to GRA was successful. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head back down to the car dealership and we're going to talk about what it costs in terms of taxes. Hi, good afternoon. What the taxes on a vehicle will cost if you wanted to buy and ship, or you want to buy locally, a vehicle locally in Guyana. So what my visit to GRA was about today was to determine the value-added tax to be charged on solar power systems. So it turns out that the way the value-added tax system works in Guyana is that the business has to register to pay value-added tax. Right? So you have to register your business to be able to collect value-added tax. And you are only required to register your business if your total revenue, annual revenue, is more than 15 million Guyana dollars. 50 million Guyana dollars is about 75 is about 75,000 US dollars per year. So what I discovered is that people who do business with me, that is, if you have me install your solar power system, then you don't have to pay value-added tax on the solar power system, because my business is still quote-unquote a small business, right? If you're doing business with a bigger company, then you're gonna have to pay value-added tax. And that means that I could save you as much as $700 on a 3 kilowatt system, and a lot more. That is just the value-added tax. I can save you $700 US dollars on a 3 kilowatt solar power system, just because you don't have to pay the value-added tax. So guys, this is also one of the reasons why you should do business with a small business, why you should utilize the small business facilities in Guyana. But back to the tax computation. So the value-added tax is 14% in Guyana, and you don't have to pay this 14% for solar power systems, and you don't even have to pay the duty, customs duty, or the excise tax. So you end up having a tax-free, entirely tax-free power system in Guyana. So now is the time, in fact, to utilize this facility, because I think it's cheapest, comparatively cheaper than anywhere else in the world, just because there are no taxes, zero customs duty, zero value-added tax, and zero excise tax on solar panels. Alright, so let's get back to the computation of your taxes on the vehicle. The reason why I'm going around to the vehicle showroom today is because I need a vehicle to transport these panels around the country, and also because I'm planning to do a cross-continent trip. So I wanted to find out if I could drive from Georgetown to Rio de Janeiro, or say Rio or Sao Paulo. Right, so a trip from Georgetown to Rio is something I'm planning in the future, and to do that I'm gonna need a good 4x4, a good SUV. I'm thinking maybe something like a Toyota Land Cruiser or 4Runner might do the trip. So I'm considering getting one of those vehicles, and therefore I'm interested in finding out what I would pay in taxes. I'm going to calculate for you what the taxes are and then tell you what Guyanese do to avoid paying these taxes. How to avoid paying, say, $500,000 for a Mercedes-Benz, say a GL wagon, a G-Wagon or a GL class vehicle, which would cost about $500,000 new in Guyana, 500,000 US dollars new. So even though you pay maybe $120,000 for it in the US, you could end up paying about $500,000 for it. And if you pay $80,000 for a Toyota Land Cruiser in the US, you could end up paying $180,000. Well, 83 is 20, $240,000. You end up paying $240,000 US for a Toyota Land Cruiser in Guyana. And that's actually, I understand, cheap compared to places like Singapore, where you're going to end up paying 5 times the price. A Toyota Corolla, for example, in Singapore will cost you 68,000 US dollars. But in Guyana, Toyota Corolla will cost you about 48,000 US dollars. Right, so that same Toyota Corolla that you pay 15,000 US dollars for in the US will cost about 40 to 48,000 US dollars in Guyana, and will cost you about $68,000 US in Singapore. And that is how taxes inflate the cost of vehicles. So what has happened is that people in Guyana have responded to these very high taxes by getting older vehicles. So instead of buying a new Toyota Corolla or a new Lexus, RX or LX or GX vehicle, you end up buying one that is 7 to 10 years old. And the depreciation in this case helps you because the CIF, right, the cost, insurance and freight on a used vehicle is less, right? It's a whole lot less than the cost of a new one. And the result is that you have a whole lot of old vehicles on the road. The problem with having old vehicles on the road is that the safety features of newer vehicles are not installed on older vehicles, so you have a less safe road environment. So what you're doing is you're creating a trap. It's like a hazard. The hazard of having high vehicle taxes in Guyana is that you create a situation where all the vehicles are older and less safe. And so the new government tried to address this by putting a limit on the age of the vehicle. So now you cannot import a vehicle that is older than, I think, 7 years or 8 years old. But all that does is it drives up the cost of owning a vehicle, which means that fewer people will be able to purchase a vehicle, right? So it becomes a class thing. And so vehicle ownership in Guyana has now been linked to class status, which is unfortunate because vehicles are important for productivity. The productivity gains that you would get from owning your vehicle allow you to advance, to climb in social status and class. In other words, you can earn more money, you will have a more efficient life, and therefore owning a vehicle should in fact be a good thing. But unfortunately, yeah, I got it. Unfortunately, however, the tax system creates these perverse incentives so that it's actually cheaper to have an older vehicle than it is to have a vehicle that is newer and safer. And now by imposing by imposing a limit on the age of the vehicle that you can purchase, that you can buy in Guyana, what they have done is that they have caused vehicles to be outside the reach of many citizens. So this is one of the reasons why I'm against the vehicle tax. I think there should not be a value-added tax, there should not be an excise tax, and there should not be duty, import duty, custom duty on vehicles, because you don't have a local industry to protect. There is no reason to charge duty on these vehicles because you're not protecting a local industry. They should be all duty-free. And when you make them duty-free, what you do is you eliminate the corruption that comes with people trying to avoid duty by various means, because certain classes, certain groups of people can avoid paying duty. Certain ministers of the government, for example, don't have to pay duty, and certain classes of workers don't have to pay duty, and therefore they create all kinds of incentives to avoid duty. Now this is the Toyota dealership, so we're going to go into Toyota dealership and price a SUV, and we're going to calculate the cost and what it would cost if the duty, all of the duties and taxes are paid. So let's go, let's check this out. So I'm going in now. Morning. So I'm here to price a vehicle.